Hi, my name is Sophie and I had Ewing Sarcoma in my right femur when I was 8 years old back in 2005. When I was diagnosed, what I remember is being alone in a hospital room for what felt like a really long time. I think you're not alone as a child very often, and both of my parents weren't there, so I kept calling the nurse and they said that I'd speak to them soon. And then a very trepidatious, shy nurse came and got me from my hospital room, and I was led to the room at the end of the corridor, which I shortly learned you don't ever wish to be taken to, with the blinds drawn and a sorry box of tissues on the coffee table. And as I went into that room, I remember thinking, I've never seen my mum or dad's face look like this. And they were sat opposite my surgeon. I went into the room and they sat me down and my mum said, "Sophie, you have cancer." And to that I said, "Am I going to die?" And my mum reassured me that I wouldn't, and then they explained my treatment plan to me. Throughout my treatment, there were lots of ups and downs, and it was a journey, as everyone says. I do remember being so incredibly ill with chemotherapy, and a few of the things I remember were things like my wee being too toxic to use a normal toilet, so your wee has to be incinerated because there's so much toxicity from your chemotherapy that it can't go into the normal plumbing system, which I think really highlights exactly how harsh bone cancer treatment is. So I remember having to be in a room by myself with an ensuite because I had to use these like cardboard bedpan things. Other things I remember are being with my sister, who's 2 years older than me. So I was 8 when I had treatment and my sister was 10. And she would come and visit me in Oxford when I was having chemotherapy, and she was my one person who still treated me like a normal person. So she was still my sister and she would still have a go at me, which no one else would do. I think people are very protective, obviously, when you are a child who's going through cancer treatment, but she just treated me like Sophie. And that was really important with getting me through my cancer treatment. One moment that I remember from my cancer treatment was having my midway MRI scan to see if my chemotherapy was working, and that happened to be on my 9th birthday. And I was really upset that I had to have an MRI scan on my birthday, that I had to go to hospital on my birthday, and I was so angry that I just couldn't have a normal 9-year-old birthday. So my parents, to make it special, clubbed together and rented a stretched limo from my house to Oxford where I was having the scan. And so me and my sister and my mum and dad were in the stretched limo all the way up the motorway, arrived at the John Radcliffe Hospital feeling like a celebrity. And I do remember going into the MRI waiting room, and of course they ask you your date of birth, and I said today. And that was, a very special moment. Interestingly, looking back as an adult, I remember as a child thinking they've made my birthday really special because I'm really poorly, and actually later sort of thinking and finding out they made my birthday really special because they thought it might be my last birthday. And that is something that I realise now as an adult, being in remission from bone cancer, that scan is so important because that is whether your chemo has worked or not. A milestone that I celebrate in my bone cancer treatment is my leg's birthday. So on the 15th of September every year, I mark having my knee replacement. He's now 19 years old, and I do something like have a birthday cake for him every year to mark that it's still going and that my leg is still healthy. And I find it's a really positive way to mark what was a really awful day and a very pivotal time in my life, by having 2 birthdays a year, which I saw actually from another bone cancer patient on social media, and so I only started doing it when I was older, but it's really quite important for me and really helps me to tell people about my knee replacement as well, which can be a tricky conversation. I do find it quite difficult actually now that I've had my knee replacement for so long. It's not very obvious to people. So it used to be when I was a child and teenager, the first thing anyone new would say to me was, "What's wrong with your leg?" That would be the first thing before they asked me my name, before they said who they were. Until I got to university, that was the first place where that wasn't the first interaction I had with a new person. And then it became, I suppose, a pressure to then have to tell people, because before that was done for me, they would ask me and I would tell them instantly, and that was horrible. But when it became less physically obvious, less visually obvious, my limp got a lot less pronounced. I had to start telling people, and I didn't know when to do that. So now my leg's birthday is quite a good way, I think, to tell people in a positive way about what's happened and to open up that conversation without it being something bad and something wrong, which is language that I don't personally use about my leg anymore, but unfortunately is how people usually do describe having a knee replacement. So I like to keep it positive with my birthday cake. Being 8 years old when I was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma, it affected my parents hugely. They were the ones who had to hear the news. They were the ones who had to deliver the news to me. And from then on, they were the ones who had to make all of my medical decisions and somehow translate those to me. So my surgeon, my oncologist, all the MDT would discuss my treatment with both of my parents, and they were then left to make the decisions for me and tell me exactly what was going on, which is an impossible task. So it has really, really impacted them the most. My childhood bone cancer also had a huge impact on my sister, who is 2 years older than me, so she was 10 whilst I was going through treatment. And one really important thing is that I had my knee replacement just after she'd started secondary school. I think in the first few weeks of her starting secondary school, which is such a big moment for you as a child, she was the first person who saw the matron at my school, and it was because she was having, I think, what we would now describe as a panic attack, because she was so worried that I was going to die on the operating table having my knee replacement, when she should have been worried about her new school schedule, going to grammar school, and that was what she was so incredibly stressed about. So I think the impact that it has on siblings is so huge because they're children too, going through it all. And even to this day we talk about it very openly. But it had a huge impact on her for a long time. I had a lot of surgeries over that decade, and each time she'd be so stressed that I just wouldn't come out. I just wouldn't come out of it. And she too had to grieve pre-cancer Sophie, that she could be full sisters with, and I was healthy and we used to run around. She had to grieve that version of me as well as a child, which is, an immeasurable impact on her. My bone cancer treatment had a big impact on me at school. So I was in year 4 when I was diagnosed, and in year 5 whilst I was going through treatment and surgery. My mum had to give up work to look after me, so she came in as like a reading helper to the rest of my class when I was healthy enough to go to school, because she had to administer medication to me and a calorific milkshake through my feeding tube every few hours. So she came in, and I remember having a few friends before I was diagnosed, and then they had an assembly about me when I was diagnosed and in hospital, and I came back to school with no hair and had lost a significant amount of weight, so I looked really unwell and not like any other child at my school, and all of the children were obviously told to be very nice to me. So I do remember that, and I remember actually we had to write something at the end of the year, and I said I was scared that my friends weren't really my friends and they were just told to be nice to me, because alongside that, children didn't want to touch me because they were thinking that my cancer was contagious, so they wouldn't play with me or go near me, and a lot of them also thought I smoked because I had cancer, which I was 8 and not smoking. So it was actually really difficult. I felt very isolated and alone in that. And unfortunately, with bone cancer treatment, where my oncology treatment finished after a year, my hair started growing back. It was very thin. Because I had my knee replacement, I had to have it extended surgically every year or so. So throughout secondary school, my memory is having surgery, and I would go through a constant cycle of my left leg growing and my right leg prosthesis having to be extended by surgery, and throughout that journey having to have a built-up shoe, and then surgery, and then physiotherapy and hydrotherapy, and then I would sort of just about get back to a baseline, and I would have grown enough with my longer leg to need to have that again. And that included having an Elazaroff frame in sixth form at school, and it really had a huge impact on me socially at school. Thankfully, academically I was okay, I think because that was something I could do, and I couldn't take part in any sports or anything like that, so I had all this time to just delve into academia, so did well in my exams, but there's nothing like having to stand outside on a winter morning whilst all of your peers are playing sports in PE and being handed a squeezy whistle as you stand there and have to squeeze this whistle as a referee for these sports that you don't know how to play and you can't, and having to watch everyone your age be able to do that. And I remember sports day, I would lock myself in the toilet and cry. Sorry, why I was upset about that. Anyway. Yeah, I do remember sports day and being very upset. I would say that my hopes and dreams for the future are entirely shaped by my bone cancer journey. It's something that I've really taken on as part of my career and with my volunteering roles, that I would really like to use my remission life to improve the landscape for childhood cancer patients, and that is my driving force in everything I do. I need to make absolutely sure that no one goes through what I went through, and although progress is slow, that is happening, so that's really good to see. So I like to do that through my work and volunteering, and it's something that I'm just like constantly driven by. Just need to make sure that no one goes through that again.